This outcome is a combination of arrogance, ignorance, and incompetence. The ignorance is not that of the English or Welsh people, who know very well that Europe isn't working, that it's been denying national democracy, as in the case of Greece. It's the arrogance of an increasingly hegemonic Germany, which has denied full employment alternatives for Europe with existing financial institutions and instruments, and the incompetence of the Juncker Commission, which has failed to realize, and the inconsistency of Juncker, who made commitments, for example, in his adoption address to the European Parliament in 2014, that he would do two things: fund a 300 billion European Investment Bank bond-financed recovery, which between June 2014 and November he reduced to 5 billion, which is ridiculous, under pressure from Berlin. And incompetence also in inventing yet new institutions which aren't needed and which have been downgraded and which are not working. Therefore, the fault does not lie, in my view, with the English and Welsh electorate. The fault lies with the European Council and the Commission.
And what has happened in this case is that a significant percentage, not that large, has shown the deep division in Britain, in the United Kingdom, as they call it, that will be reflected in the very near future.
So you call it the disunited kingdom?
It is the disunited kingdom, and you will soon see the independence referendum for Scotland, and you will soon see many people in Ireland saying, since a majority of people in Northern Ireland voted to remain within the European Union, you will see those people marching for union in Ireland, with Ireland, and with the European Union.
The second time in this century where you had a vote which has historical consequences. And I would say with Jim that while the Germans, when they were voting for Hitler, didn't really know what they were voting for, this time the people knew what they are voting for and still voted. And that is much deeper. That means that 9 out of 10 economists were saying remain. 9 out of 10 celebrities said remain. All political parties, apart from some guys, at least the dominant elite was saying remain. It will be very hard to govern a country where half of the population have a completely different vision than the dominant one. So, and it has repercussions beyond, like when the Austro-Hungarian Empire was disappearing, and now you have a little Austria. The process in the last 60, 70 years is now you remain a little England out of the whole empire. But I'm afraid that Europe will be an outpost of Asia without all these countries really. So it has, in the global context, the people voted and will vote against globalization. Why we don't have a different model how to run the country.
Yeah.
And I think that's the basic dilemma we are facing.
I think we also, if I may, need to look at who is celebrating this vote. Outside of the people who actually voted in it, the leaders of the BREXIT campaign, people like Nigel Farage, as he likes to be called, are people we don't want governing us. Who else? Marine Le Pen. Are we delighted that she now has more momentum to become president of France? Or Geert Wilders in the Netherlands? Are these the people that we want in charge of major European governments? I think not.
Well, may I say something? I think it's difficult to say who is we. That's one of the big problems of the so-called liberal left.
Except that I was just meant us four.
No. But you are absolutely right that people should be made responsible for the way how they are voting. You know? But the causes are deeper. And this Brexit yes vote was foreseeable. It's part of a negative spiral, which started many years ago. And I think the failure of the European Union to further integration, deepen integration, lies in the fact of its relative success before 1989-91. And that its so-called elite, economic, political, whatever elite, in Brussels and in the big capitals, the strongest member states, was unable to predict, understand, and digest the consequences of 89 and 91. We just celebrated, quote unquote, the collapse of the Soviet Union. We are going to celebrate this year, the 25th anniversary. And in June 19, when we started our summer university, that was the day 25 years ago when the last Soviet soldier left Hungary. 25 years, a quarter of a century, was not enough for the Brussels elite with its think tanks and forward studies units and analysts to grasp that we, and that's the European Union's population of society, a larger transnational society, need a completely new method, a new methodology than what was used before. I mean that we discussed it before, Jean Monnet method is absolutely over, but that's not a new thing. It was, we could understand it 20 years ago. 15 years ago, certainly when the double no, the French and Dutch double no came.
Plus Ireland.
And then Robbie that time was the head of the Europe, and the Eurobarometer showed us very clearly that the Dutch and French citizens were not voting against Europe, against the idea of it. They were voting against these methods that some unelected bureaucrats are deciding above their heads concerning their future,
yes.
About their future, like with the Eastern enlargement. So what my point is that we need what was missed to bring together, because the European elite was afraid to bring together a European assembly. As it happened after the Second World War. That was the base of the European integration. We tend to forget that it was a social movement. Yes. Then it became a bureaucratic, elite-driven procedure.
Yeah, and
but then, if you don't, sorry, I just feel, if you do not have, or we are unable to bring together a new European assembly, in order to formulate at least the contours of what we would call a new European social contract, there would be no chance to create what Stuart is suggesting here for almost a decade, a European New Deal. So then the negative spiral is going to continue, and the falling apart of the European Union is not stoppable.
That's right, because what Robbie's poem found on the French and Dutch referendum is that 85% of them were not against Europe, but they were against a market-dominated Europe. They wanted more social Europe. They wanted more defensive employment. And that also was a key principle of the first revision of the Rome Treaty in what's called the Single European Act of 1986, which had two pillars. One was the internal market of 1992, and the other was economic and social cohesion.
Exactly.
And Delors brought out a white paper in 93, which showed that it was feasible to create, in a Europe then of only 12 member states, 17% registered unemployment. It was feasible to create 15 million jobs. And that was supported by Chirac, by Mitterrand, Chirac, Prodi, when Prime Minister of Italy, and others, and simply ignored by the Commission, and ignored by Germany. And this is the outcome. Joschka Fischer predicted in 2011 that it would be a tragedy if, for the third time in a century, Germany were to destroy the rest of Europe without this time even firing a shot. And that, in fact, is what